Hey there, boys and girls. North EMT 88 here. This is going to be one of my first medical videos. I just got to start this off with a disclaimer. I'm not teaching you via YouTube. This is not a formal class. I'm not making you a first responder. I'm not making you an EMT. I'm not making you a paramedic. I am showing you tips and things you can do as a bystander. If you do want more and you want formal training, I suggest everyone at least become an EMT. From there, you might find something you love, go into paramedicine. If not, you're at least a qualified EMT. So when you are helping people, you're doing it the right way, not making the situation worse, and you're getting out there and helping your community. Because a lot of people I know don't help the community, really. I haven't noticed it very much in the tactical community. I know a lot of you guys are former military. A lot of you guys are fire. I have a couple of guys that are medics, a couple cops that watch. I'm not obviously talking to you guys, but this is more directed towards the people that are just kind of the armchair tactical ninjas that know how to treat every battle wound and have never actually pulled out their band-aids and whatnot. So that's why I'm going to give you guys simple tips and tricks to help treat your buddy if they get shot or if your mom cuts her finger making you dinner. Okay? I like acronyms. They work for me. They might not work for you. Today, we're talking about bleeding control. Okay? Bleeding control. The purpose of bleeding control is to stop bleeding. The way you do that is with this acronym right here. WADP. It's the way I remember it. It's the way I was taught it. It works well for me. 80 to 90% of bleeds can be stopped with just this. Let's say someone's bleeding. The first thing you should do, obviously, gloves. Gloves, or if you're going to go treat your mom with bare hands, that's fine. I would not suggest treating a buddy with bare hands. You don't know where he's been. You don't know the things he's done. If you feel comfortable with that, cool, go for it. Have fun. I will not touch anyone's blood that I don't have a family relationship with. I don't know. But yeah. So, you walk up, let's say my arm is bleeding. First thing you do, gloved hand on the actual bleed. It does absolutely nothing to hold pressure. A lot of people say, I'm holding pressure, but they're missing. Think of it as when you're going for a headshot and you're looking for the T-zone, right between the eyes and right down the nose. That's the instant kill shot. If you don't hit that, the guy is still pissed off and wants to finish the job. The same thing with well-aimed direct pressure. I'm going to stop this video real quick, and I'm going to draw a little thing right here for you guys. Alrighty, I'm back. So now that my lovely art is done, let's just say your friend is playing with his new K-bar, and he gets a big cut right here. It's spurting blood. What do? You come over like, oh my god, we need to get help. Okay, he's dying, it's spurting blood. So, first thing you guys do, with a clean, if you can, if not, get it as dirty as you want. He's gonna die, he can deal with an infection later. With a gloved hand, you're going to now put, because you're going to be doing a good job, pressure directly on the wound. It does no good for you to put pressure up here and squeeze. It does no good for you to put pressure down here and squeeze. The only thing that's going to help is for you to put good, well-aimed, direct pressure onto that wound. Now, the reason that this will stop most wounds, or most bleeds, is because that now will have all those little blood vessels will now clot off because they have pressure on them and there's not just that rapid flow. And I'm not going to go into clotting factors and the clotting process with you guys, but it helps. The well-aimed direct pressure, it's the same thing as putting a Band-Aid on. It has to clot. And with a wound this big, it won't do it because of the rapid movement. Rivers don't freeze quickly. Lakes do because of the rapid movement. They will freeze, but they need to get slowed down a little bit. And that's the general idea. So, well-aimed direct pressure directly on the wound with, if nothing else, a t-shirt.
and then elevate it. If it's an arm, hold it above their head. It decreases the amount of blood pressure. If you raise something, the blood's going to run out of it. Less blood can go to it to get pumped out. So that's the concept behind elevating. Also, if you guys feel comfortable doing this, and try this, well-aimed direct pressure for at least a minute or so. If you guys don't feel comfortable, if you guys don't think it's stopping, you guys can come up here to the brachial, feel for a pressure point, and you feel it pumping, pumping, pumping. Put your finger on it and slow it down, and that's going to decrease the amount of blood going this way. It's going to cut that. There are still other arteries and little venules and things that are feeding that arm, but you're going to drastically decrease the amount of blood pressure getting pumped to that hand, and that now will be saved. And that will then make this right here, your well-aimed direct pressure, that much more impressive. You really should not have to go to a tourniquet unless this happens. If you walk up and your buddy's arm is off, and there's nothing going on here except blood, 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 first off, he's not in a good shape. So what you do, if you can, apply an actual tourniquet, 2 to 3 inches proximal. So this is the body over here. That's his head, that's his shoulder, that's his arm. I know, I'm an artist. Blood's coming out. You want to have this right here, 2 to 3 inches. Because that way it gives the doctors a little bit more to work with when they reattach, or at least attempt reattaching. If you can't get it, if it's right up on his shoulder, do what you can to save your buddy's life. He's not going to be pissed at you because he's alive. If he is, he's a dick friend, and he's a dick friend. But yeah. So wider's better on tourniquets. Belts. If you have a t-shirt, you can rip off a little square. Little things like that. Don't try to use boot laces. They're really tight. They're constrictive. They will stop the bleeding, but they will lose their arm. So the wider's the better. It won't make the tissue so necrotic later on. It actually destroys the tissue when you have that narrow of a pressure on that little spot. If tourniquet doesn't stop the bleeding, you're doing it wrong. Tourniquet will stop 100% of bleeding. And then grab his arm, get in the truck, and go if you haven't already called 911. Depending on where you are, if you're out hunting, if you're out in the middle of a farm, and you're using a log splitter, and somehow he falls and gets his arm caught in there, and it lops off his arm, belt on it, grab his arm, and get to the effing hospital as fast as you can. Time is killing him. He is dying. Get him there. If you can, try to rendezvous with paramedics. They can give him things such as fluid. Some places are giving a blood substitute. That's not really going to fix him. He needs a doctor. He needs to get there now. So that's my little spiel on bleeding control. Hope it wasn't too long and boring. Thank you guys for watching, and if all else fails, call 911. Thank you guys.